Hey everyone, it's Kenlyn, and welcome back to my channel for the Astro and Energy Report for the week of July 6th. It's a powerhouse week. I told you that last week. Prepare for this week. It's big, it's bold, it's going to require some completions, and it's also going to open up new pathways for abundance and for love. If you have eyes to see and ears to hear, isn't that always the case? Thank you for liking and subscribing to my channel. It gets this word out. I love to use astrology as a springboard for current events, how we live our lives, how we direct our energy. It's the most precious commodity we have is our attention and our energy. How do we direct it? And it's becoming more and more important that we know how to do that. So today I'm recording this on July 6th, and that's the day that my beloved dog 13 years ago died. And it was what an epic death. It taught me so much that I made a short film, 15 minutes, called Doglama. And I'm going to put the link below. You can only access it right now through this link on Vimeo. And if you want to watch it, a lot of my friends watch it when they need to cry and maybe like their throat chakra is stuck and it just opens it up. But it's a spiritual piece. It's not just about saying goodbye to your beloved pet. It's also about how to hold the context of loving and letting go. And we're doing a lot of that right now, letting go of the way that we see the world, the way that we thought the world would go on the big picture level, and then even letting go of the things in our own lives, the micro things, relationships, housing. You can see right here, I'm in a new house. I'm in Boulder. And I'm really looking forward to the astrology this week to help support the clarity coming through of what's next. Where do I go next? So we'll unpack all that. I'll share some stories. But again, thank you for liking and subscribing. It means a lot to me. So on July 4th, we had this last conjunction of Venus and Uranus in Taurus as Venus then moved on into Gemini, and with her Neptune stationed retrograde. So that's what happened on the 4th of July. And we also had politically that big, disgusting bill passed in the United States. And from the way I interpret it, is one of the largest transfers of wealth upwards and really shredding the safety net in the United States. I thought that was just going on here, but I posted about it and someone said that kind of thing is happening in Romania, probably all over the world. There are these vestiges, hints of authoritarianism, fascism, oligarchies being formed. And so it's really a time to get the fuck empowered as citizens, wherever you are. And I hope this transmission serves you to do just that. So, okay, July 6th, we've got Venus, yummy Venus, thank the goddess. We have Venus showing up, sextiling Saturn, and also Neptune retrograde. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that because it's really going to implicate an overarching theme of right now, the big letting go that's being asked of us. And I'll say that in a minute after I say, then July 10th, we have the full moon in Capricorn. And that completes the cycle from December 30th's new moon in Capricorn. And before the 10th, in fact, tomorrow, Monday, the 7th of July, we have Uranus moving into Gemini. And you might remember I said, this is the second major thing happening for 2025. This is why 2025 was said to be the year of the biggest change. And I think we said that every year, but then really like the planets not just crashed heads, but changed signs. And they went into the signature of the elements of fire and air. So you can feel that things are going to speed up a lot, and they're also going to transform a lot. Oh, yeah. So we get to ride that. We're going to have to ride that. You don't have a choice but to ride that. So how do you want to ride that? That's your choice. Do you want to step into the fullest expression of you? I mean, look, we're all going to die. I don't know if that's a newsflash, but we're all going to die. We're all going to leave this planet. And I think when you get to be my age and you've crossed your second Saturn return, that's so present that, you know, I'm in the last third, right? And so how do I want to make it count? I get to say how I want to make it count. Really, I get to say by who do I want to be? And I know that there are gifts, latent gifts that I have not even stepped into because I've been spending so much time healing, right? Can you totally relate to that? Like healing the wounds, coming into a sense of self. I mean, I don't know about you. We all have our own story, I think, with our birth chart and how we came into this world, you know, whether you came in with a grand cross, a T-square, an interception. There's all the things that we just said in our blueprint. Yep, I'm gonna do that. And that's gonna be the crucible, like even your childhood is in your chart. Like that's gonna be the crucible of how I become my true self. And really, your gifts are not just the seeds of your gifts are inside of you, and you get to grow them. Like think about that little acorn seed, right? The acorn seed, yes, has the oak tree in it, and it's not the oak tree. It's got sunlight and water and fertilization and nutrients that make it the oak tree. And so we get to put ourselves in the way of those things. And these full moons are just epic times to just let go of more and more things. And I'm going to position what they are and could be more and more things that are just not that are in the way of that. And so like the samurai, there's a saying that the samurai were always close to death. Death was their counsel. So if death is your counsel, then you actually know how to live. And so that's my film. That's what that's about. And I track the Mary Oliver poem in Blackwater Woods, the last stanza. To be human, you must be able to do 3 things: to love what is mortal, and then to hold it against your bones as if your life depends on it. And then when the time comes to let go, to let go. That's deep medicine. And so maybe we can take that on as the medicine. So maybe part of me, just like me, like, I don't want to let go. I don't want to change. I don't want this country to change. I loved it the way it was. After World War II, the United States became a superpower, and it's losing its superpower status. I don't care what anyone says about, no, we're making it better. No, we're actually losing our superpower status. This is what Pluto in Aquarius is just reckoning with power and power shifting. And yeah, some of us who are older are going to be nostalgic about it. The younger ones, maybe not so much. But we're here. We're going to hand off this world, okay, to the next generation. So it's going to take you, my friend, showing up in your fullness so that we hand them something they can work with, and they will. And we've trained them well. We've been good mamas and papas to many, many of these millennials and what they call the Homelander kids. Anyway, I digress. Let's get back into astrology. So that's what's posited. We've got on July 12th, finally, we'll have Saturn going retrograde. And then on July 17th, Mercury will be going retrograde. So like I said, the rest of the summer and even the rest of the year for these big, slow moving planets, we're going to be, and Pluto included, we're going to be in a time of revisiting what just happened, integrating what just happened, really understanding it with more of ourselves, and getting clearer by the time that February and the spring of 2026 hits. You'll be in a whole new normal. I'm going to guess that right now. That's going to be my prediction. You're going to be in a whole new thing. This is a big lull, liminal space. I was just in Santa Fe, had such a good time. It was so magical. And I ran into a friend, and she was saying all of the channels of revenue that she's had. And she's really a multi-talented artist and done many, many things. And for 25 years was always making it work. And she said they've all just come to a stop, a completion. And that's really, really scary. So if that's you, then, and that was me, certainly with the Evolving Sisters Network, and that's so many of us, that we're called to deeply listen. And one of the hits I got was that in this crisis period that I've talked about many times with the fourth turning, what really is important is community. So I have a sense that there are going to be more collaborations, that we're going to be stronger together. And I love that idea that we're really weaving a tapestry together that is going to hold us through the breakdown. So what if we are creating our own safety net through the ways that we're weaving in community right now? And spring is coming. I always have to say that because I don't want anyone to get panicked. I want you to deepen, not panic, but deepen. Listen. Okay, so let's get into the astrology around Venus, because I love Venus and her sextile to Saturn. Saturn is no stranger for me. I have Saturn in very prominent placements in my chart, who's the Lord of Karma, the Lord of Discipline, kicks your freaking butt. and really wants you to show up with responsibility. So I bow to Saturn because it's like, I love the metaphor. It really works for me. I know other people have different metaphors, but I love the one of the Olympic coach that gets your butt out of bed at 4 a.m. to train. And you would never do it on your own. No way. We're calibrated to comfort. So we wouldn't do it. But Saturn, when there are important transits in your chart, Saturn gets you flowing with the discipline that's needed to make the big dreams come true. So Venus, while she's sextiling, it's a good energy with Neptune retrograde that will help you dream new dreams. That Saturn is going to help you put them into place. And Saturn's also squaring Jupiter. So Saturn's going to be like, yeah, those big dreams. Yeah, it's not a lottery ticket, y'all. You got to do the thing. You got to take an action and another action and another action. And I was listening to your future self audiobook, and it was really honing in on how we have been overly resistant to failure. Listen to this. It's good. And that failure is a part of having the big dreams, of actually actualizing them. So I'm having a whole new relationship with failure, and particularly once you have some failures in your life, you get that exposure therapy going and you're not so afraid. And then it poisons you to take better risks, not jumping off a cliff. I'm not into that. It's better risks. It's with discernment. It's with a legal contract. That's at least the meeting of the mind so that we agree to what we're doing. It's thinking through some things. It's testing your audience before you launch a product and put all this money into a product. God, how many times have I seen that happen? Someone creates a product, they stay behind the computer for months and months, and then they unveil it and nobody buys it. That could be because you don't have good marketing and your messaging isn't super, super tight. It could also be that you're solving the wrong problem. No one asked you to solve that problem. So Saturn it's gonna just kick your butt. You're gonna go down, and then you're gonna get back up. You're gonna get back up. Don't stay down. Don't pivot down there, for goodness sake. Don't go, well, I should probably do something else. No, get back up and figure it out. That's it. If it lights you up, if you were doing it and it wasn't lighting you up and you didn't like it, then you have to scrap it. All right. So that's my Saturn, Venus sextile Saturn. It's a time to get in touch with what makes you feel good and where you love being of service. Where do you love being of service? Again, let's work with that 80-20 in my Wise Women Mastermind. The doors are still open. We're going to have our first call on the 11th of July. Come join us. This is really a frequency container to find the question of what really lights us up. And then we can literally scrap the rest. And that rest is probably in the neighborhood of 80%. Yeah, I know that's super drastic, but we've got a lot of things that drain our energy. We sign up for a lot of things that are urgent, but not important. I heard this the other day. What's important isn't urgent, and what's urgent isn't important. Write that down. I love that. That's good. That's good medicine. So how do we desire to change the lives of others, to better the lives of others, to contribute to the betterment of others through our offers, through even raising our standards, like going to that 80-20 model and living your life through that 20%? That's actually going to raise your standard. And really what Wise Woman Mastermind is helping women do is raise their frequency for receiving. I think we do a lot of distracting things to get a dopamine hit, like scrolling on social media or posting shit that, yeah, it's fun, but it just doesn't do anything. What is your goal here? What do you want out of it? To ask the deeper questions. This is Venus sextiling Saturn. Ask the deeper questions so that if you're going to post, it's going to be saying something. It's going to be impacting something, contributing something. Yeah, it's a higher frequency. And so you're asked to go into a higher frequency. If you take it up, you don't have to choose it. You can still get your dopamine hits by scrolling on the couch. I mean, I've been known to do it. And I'm catching myself because that's my attention, my energy is the most powerful commodity I have. And that's why I'm not going to feed the matrix with it. I'm not. I know about what's happening. And that helps me even more create the context of my why. I was listening to the story of Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning, who was in a Nazi concentration camp, and all of his family was wiped. They were murdered. And what got him through, and this just gives me chills, what got him through was that he had a bigger why. He said that he studied prisoners, he worked with prisoners, and he was already a psychiatrist that was well known and influential. And he worked with other prisoners to help them find their why in a concentration camp. So here's the thing, here's the takeaway, that even in those most extreme, it's going to fall here, dire circumstances, it's still the same mechanism for our mind. It's still the same mechanism for our heart, for our beingness. What carries us forward and pulls us forward through extreme shit is the same thing that carries you forward through a mundane day. So get the muscle, get the muscle happening so that no matter what happens, you have that thing that he had. And that's how he was able to write the book, Man's Search for Meaning. And his why was that the Nazis confiscated his manuscript to the book. I think it was called The Doctor and the Soul or something like that. And that was his work that he must get out, must not die, must get out. So what is that thing for you that you are so committed to, that you must do? If you don't know, get yourself into Wise Women Mastermind. I am not kidding. I mean, I feel like crying because we don't have space to not know. You got to know now. And so that carried him through, and he rewrote that when he got out, and he served to greater and greater and greater capacities. He remarried, he rebuilt his life. And so I'm honoring that man today and his legacy today. And may all beings benefit from the merits of his efforts, of his leadership, of his self-leadership, of the way he trained his mind. Whew, that's big. Okay, so this transit, take your work bigger, expand it in a new way, get foundational, get clear about the thing that is yours to do, and let go of the rest. And if you don't know, again, we have a container for that. All right, we have Venus sextiling Neptune. That's going to bring forth so much creativity. Maybe the scales will fall off our eyes, and the thing that we haven't been clear about in this liminal space, like me and my housing, maybe that's going to come through. I don't know. Mercury's retrograding in my home house. So I'm like, yes, maybe I get a new home. All right. Venus then is trining Pluto. We're gonna kind of end with that, although I'm going to say a little more about the full moon. And that's just spicy, intimate, Pluto goes deep, deep, deep. So you can take your relationships deeper. You can take your money deeper. How much do you want a foundation for the rest of your life, for living and being taken care of for the rest of your life? This could set it in motion. I know that's something that's on my radar that I'll be working with in the Wise Women Mastermind, having learned a lot of lessons about money over the last few years that were like only Saturn can deliver those things. And now I'm on it. I'm on it. I'm good. I got my marching orders. So you could make some foundations for long-term wealth with this transit. And it's only a few days, but it's this week. And let's take what we get. So it might be a time to make an investment, to open up that savings account, that crypto account, whatever it is that you've been wanting to do. Get off your butt and do it. I think I've said butt in this video like 5 or 6 or 7 times. So I think it's like a call to action, fire underneath you, like taking action. Okay. And then we come to the full moon. This full moon is a powerhouse full moon. It is an action taking full moon. And what is the action? Well, full moons, let go of some shit. What are some commitments that you have made that, the expiration date has passed and you need to let them go because you need to refine your life, not because it was uncomfortable, but because it's no longer where you're going. You can hear the theme in my voice. I hope you can, because this is how I believe we work with these very turbulent energies in a very turbulent time. We cannot be lazy. We cannot go on autopilot. This is not autopilot time. Guess what? The next generation in the awakening, they're going to be able to go a little bit more on autopilot. And they probably deserve it because they didn't have the abundance that the United States had prior in some earlier generations. But right now, no, we did not sign up for autopilot. We signed up for in the fire with the wind going, like it's a forest fire. That's what we signed up for energetically. All right. So I think that's really it. I'm going to leave you with the question of, in this full moon, ask yourself, is what I've committed to building my long-term future? Is this what I want for my long-term future? And does it make me happy? Does it make me happy? You have to be happy. You know, I go back to human design. If you look at the types in human design, the auric types, the manifestor, the reflector, the generator, the manifesting generator, and the projector, there isn't a type that says, no, you have to suck it up and slave away. That is actually the not self, the shadow. It's the stuff we are waking up from. So imagine if part of the whole rationale for this turning upside down, for the crises, is an opportunity to actually live a more expressed version of you. Would you take it? Would you take it? Are you going to sit around and worry? You could do that. Or would you take it to actually say, I'm going to do the thing that is inside me to do, and I'm going to discover new gifts in myself I didn't know I had, but I'm going to go with that tiny little breadcrumb of what I know super lights me up, and that people have said, you know what, you're so in your zone when you do that. And again, we're going to explore that in Wise Women Mastermind, because I know you can't do that in a vacuum. I cannot see myself. It takes others seeing me. And then through that mirror, things click in, and then I can take some really discerning action. All right. I hope this serves you. I love you. It's a really powerful week and a very powerful month. And I'm here for you to rise, for all of us to rise. So let's gather all the positive energy that we have generated here. And let's beam it out, wrap the world in it in gold, liquid light. Ooh. May everyone have the courage to do what they need to do, to be their most brilliant and best self for the benefit of all beings. And so it is. May all beings benefit for the merits of our efforts. Thank you, friends. I'll see you on the next video.